growing up as a kid, you know, we didn't have much, and I always told myself I was never going to live my life poor. And I spent the first part of my life doing everything I could to accumulate everything I could, and it was just never enough. You know, you set one goal and then you just keep moving the bar, and at some point, you know, that had to stop. We were doing these retreats, M24, and the first couple they had, I only stayed for the first day because our kids had sports the second day. And the third one that they had, I stayed for the whole deal. And it was a game changer. One of the pastors said, write on a note what you think keeps you from having an intimate, abiding relationship with Jesus. And the next morning, he asked us if we really want that relationship with Jesus, to put that note in this guitar case. And prior to that day, I can't count 2 or 3 times in my entire life I cried. And as soon as that note hit the bottom of that guitar case, I fell to my knees and couldn't get up. And I just sat there and cried. It seemed like for hours, but it was probably 15 minutes. And what I put on that note was me. I was the one standing in the way. It was me trying to control everything in my life. It is putting God first in everything that you do. And it's not easy, because you still want to do things on your own and make your own decisions, but it's including Him in every decision you make. I think that, you know, we invest our time in a lot of things, and usually it's worldly things. Investing in people, investing in men is the only thing that's internal. You know, it's the real catch. You know, if you want to have fishing stories, that's a real fishing story. Everybody gravitates to the barbecue, and ministry gets done around that barbecue. It's always been that way. We can go to a ministry event where the focus is over here, you know, why people come, and then we're behind the scenes, but behind the scenes, there's a lot of Jesus going on. And we're able to minister to guys around the barbecue that may not show up to church, you know, but they'll come help you barbecue. When you discover how to really abide in Jesus, that's how your day starts and your day ends. You know, a lot of times it's described as, you know, I pray for my breakfast, I get up in the morning and I pray, I read my Bible, I do all these things. You know, and that is described as abiding, but the Pharisees did those things. They all did those things. But Jesus had to tell it a different way. To remain in me is another way of saying abide. That means all that stuff you did, that's great, but I want all the stuff in between all that too. Some of these guys, you're like, where did this come from? You know, I never seen Jesus in you the way I see it now. What has changed? You know, they finally get it. You know, they finally spend time with Jesus intimately. You know, He's put me in a position to be able to have time to spend with men who need someone to spend time with them, to be intentional in their life. And I can't be any more thankful than what He's done. I can't complain about anything. Until you get to really know who Jesus is, you won't understand it. But you give Him your all, He's already given you everything. There's nothing better in life than seeing Jesus work in other people's life.